Crying face, she didn't marry him because she loved him. Broken heart, she married him because she had no other way to survive. The town was falling apart. Dust in the streets, empty stores, and no mercy for those without money. Nora Bennett knew what that meant. No family, no protection, no second chances. You won't last the winter, someone told her. And this time, she believed it. The offer came quietly, unexpected, from a man she barely knew. Ethan Cole, a cowboy with land, power, and a reputation for staying alone. He doesn't need anyone, people said, and he doesn't care to. Marry me. No build-up, no emotion, just a simple deal. Nora stared at him, confused, suspicious. Why? Ethan didn't hesitate. You need protection. A pause. I need a wife. That answer wasn't romantic. It wasn't soft. It was practical, cold, and somehow that made it more believable. What's the catch? She asked. There isn't one. Another pause. You stay. You're safe. That was it. No promises. No lies. Just survival. Nora looked around the town, at the empty faces, at the future she didn't have, then back at him, the man offering her a way out, without pretending it was anything more. I don't love you, she said. Ethan nodded once. I didn't ask you to. Silence. Because this wasn't a love story. Not yet. This was survival. And sometimes, that's where everything begins. The wedding was quick, quiet. No celebration, no smiles, just a contract, spoken out loud. You may stay, he said simply after. No expectations, no closeness, just distance. Even as husband and wife, the ranch was far from town, isolated, silent, safe, but also lonely. Nora stood at the doorway that first night, looking at the land, endless, unfamiliar. This is your room, Ethan said behind her. Not close. Never too close. She turned. You're not worried I'll run? A small pause. No. Why? Ethan met her eyes briefly. Because you chose to stay. That line hit deeper than expected. Because it was true. This wasn't forced. Not completely. She had chosen survival. Chosen him. Even if it didn't feel like a real choice. Days passed. Quiet ones. Distant ones. Ethan worked. Nora stayed. They barely spoke. Barely looked at each other. Like two strangers. Living the same life. But not sharing it. Until one evening, everything shifted. A group of men rode past the ranch. Slow. Watching. Evaluating. Nora felt it instantly. The danger. The same kind she left behind. They know I'm here, she said quietly. Ethan stepped beside her. Calm. Unshaken. They know you're not alone anymore, he replied. And for the first time, she understood what she had chosen. Not love, not comfort, but protection. Real. And immediate. She glanced at him. The man she married for survival. The man who kept his distance, but stood between her and danger without hesitation. And for the first time, a question formed, not about safety, but about him. Because maybe there was more to this deal than just survival. The ranch was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that made every small moment louder. A door closing. Footsteps on wood. Even breathing felt noticeable. Nora wasn't used to it. She had spent her life surrounded by noise. People. Voices. Now it was just him. And that made everything feel closer than it should. Storm's coming, Ethan said one evening. Short. Direct. Like always. Nora stepped outside. Dark clouds rolling in fast. Heavy. Unforgiving. What do we need to do? She asked. Ethan looked at her briefly. Stay inside. That answer didn't sit well. I can help. A pause. You don't have to. I didn't ask if I had to. Silence. Because she pushed back. Again. And this time, he didn't shut it down. Fine, he said. Stay close. The wind picked up fast. Dust. Cold air. everything moving at once. They worked side by side, securing doors, tying down what they could. Close. Closer than before. At one point, their hands brushed, just for a second, but it lingered, unexpected, unspoken, and neither of them mentioned it. The storm hit hard.
Rain.
Wind shaking the walls, powerful enough to make the ranch feel smaller.
Trapped.
Together, inside, the lights dimmed, then went out. Darkness filled the room. Nora froze for a second, not from fear of the storm, but from the sudden closeness. Ethan lit a lantern, soft light flickering between them. "You'll be fine," he said, his voice calm, grounding. And for some reason, that mattered more than she expected. The storm didn't pass quickly. Hours. Long ones. With nowhere to go. No way to leave. Just the two of them, sharing the same space. The same silence. "You always this quiet?" Nora asked eventually. Ethan leaned back slightly. "Yes." "That's it." A small pause. "What else do you want me to say?" She almost smiled. Almost. "Anything real," she said. That line shifted something, because it wasn't a joke. It was a challenge. Ethan looked at her, longer this time. "You think this isn't real?" he asked. Nora hesitated, because she didn't mean the situation. She meant him. "You keep everything at a distance," she said softly. "Even now." A pause. "And I don't know why." The storm roared outside, but inside, the tension was louder. Because this wasn't about survival anymore. This was personal. Ethan stood slowly, walked a few steps away, like he needed space, like he always did. "Because it's easier," he said, not turning around. Easier than what? A long silence. Then letting things matter. That answer hit deeper than anything else so far, because it wasn't cold. It was honest. Nora watched him. The distance between them felt different now. Not safe. Not simple. But fragile. Like something could break. Or change. At any moment. Another loud crack of thunder. The room shook slightly. Instinctively, she stepped closer. Not thinking. Just reacting. Ethan turned. And for a second, they were too close. No space left. No distance to hide behind. Her heartbeat quickened. Not from fear. From something else. Something new. Something dangerous in a different way. "You don't trust this," he said quietly. She shook her head slightly. "I don't understand it." A pause. "Neither do I." That honesty. Again. Raw. Unfiltered. And impossible to ignore. The storm slowly began to calm. The noise fading. But the tension didn't. Because now, they weren't just two people in a deal anymore. They were two people, starting to feel something neither of them planned. And neither of them knew what to do with it. The storm passed, but something stayed. The silence felt different now. Heavier. Closer. Nora noticed it first. The way Ethan moved around her. Still distant, but not the same. Not as cold. Morning came quietly. Soft light through the windows. Calm after chaos. Nora stepped outside. The ground still wet. Air fresh. Peaceful. For the first time in a long while, she felt safe. And that thought surprised her. Because safety was him. "You shouldn't be out here barefoot," Ethan said behind her. She turned slightly. "You're always watching?" A small pause. "Yes." That answer. Simple. But it meant more now. He walked closer, holding something in his hand. Boots. Her boots. "You'll get hurt," he said, placing them near her. Not forcing. Just there. Quiet care. No attention drawn to it. No expectation. Nora looked at them, then at him. "You notice everything, don't you?" Ethan shrugged slightly. "Things that matter." That line. Soft. But it landed deep. Because he didn't say it often. But when he did, it was real. Days passed again. But now, the distance between them felt thinner. Less intentional. More uncertain. Because something had shifted. And neither of them could pretend it hadn't. One afternoon, Nora struggled lifting a heavy water bucket. She tried anyway. Of course she did. But before she could fully steady it, Ethan took it from her. Effortless. "You don't have to prove anything," he said. A little sharper this time. She frowned slightly. "I'm not trying to prove anything." A pause. "Then why push yourself like that?" She hesitated. "Because the truth was harder to say. Because I don't want to feel like I'm just here," she admitted quietly. "Not useful. Not equal. Just existing." Ethan looked at her. Really looked this time. "You're not just here," he said, his voice steady, certain. That answer wasn't loud, but it carried weight, because he meant it. Later that evening, the sky turned gold. Soft. Quiet. They sat outside, closer than before. Not touching, but not distant either. "You regret it?" Ethan asked suddenly. She looked at him. "Marrying me?" A pause. Long enough to matter. "Not anymore," she said. That answer caught him off guard. Slightly. Because it wasn't expected. It wasn't part of the deal. "I thought this would feel like survival," she continued. "But it doesn't anymore." Another pause. "It feels like something else." Silence. Because now, they were standing at the edge of something real. Something neither of them planned. Ethan exhaled slowly, like he was holding something back. "You shouldn't feel that," he said quietly. Not harsh. Just careful. "Why?" "Because I don't." He stopped. Didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Because she understood. He didn't do feelings. Didn't trust them. Didn't allow them. But she saw it anyway. In the small things. The way he noticed. The way he protected. The way he stayed. "You don't have to say it," she said softly. Ethan looked at her. Confused. Guarded. Some things show without words. That line broke through something. Not completely, but enough. The air felt heavier now. Not uncomfortable, just real. Because feelings unspoken are often stronger than the ones said out loud. Nora stood slowly, took a step closer. Not forced, not rushed. Her choice. And for the first time, Ethan didn't step back, didn't create distance. He stayed. And that said everything. Because maybe this wasn't just survival anymore. Maybe she wasn't the only one starting to feel something. Broken heart. When survival is no longer the reason, do you stay for love? Speech balloon comment. Stay red heart or leave broken heart. The days felt different now. Not quieter. Not easier. Just heavier. Because what started as survival had turned into something real. And that made everything harder. Nora stood at the edge of the ranch, looking out at the road. The same road that brought her here. The same road that could take her away. "You're thinking about leaving." Ethan's voice behind her. Calm, but not distant this time. She didn't turn immediately. Maybe. A pause. "Maybe I'm thinking about what this really is." He stepped closer. Not too close, but closer than before. "It was a deal," he said. Nothing more. That line used to be true, but now it didn't feel that simple anymore. Nora turned to face him. "And now?" she asked. Silence. Because this was the moment he avoided. The one he didn't allow. Feelings. Real ones. "You should go," Ethan said finally. Her heart dropped, but she didn't show it. "Why?" "Because you didn't come here for this." A pause. "For me." That answer wasn't rejection. It was fear. The kind he never showed. But she saw it now. Clearly. "And what if I want to stay?" she asked softly. That question changed everything. Because this time, it wasn't about survival. It was her choice. Ethan looked at her. Longer than ever before. Like he was deciding something. Or finally accepting it. "I don't know how to be what you need," he admitted. His voice steady, but real. "I don't know how to do this." That honesty meant more than perfect words ever could. Nora stepped closer, closing the distance completely now. "You already are," she said quietly. A pause. "You just don't see it." Silence filled the space between them, but it wasn't empty. It was full of everything they hadn't said, everything they had felt. everything they were finally facing. "I didn't marry you for love," she continued. Ethan's jaw tightened slightly. "I know, but I stayed for it." That line hit deeper than anything else because it was the truth. Simple, unavoidable. Ethan exhaled slowly, like he'd been holding everything back.
Until now.
"You make this place feel different," he said. "Not smooth, not practiced, just real. And I don't want it to go back to what it was." That was his version of a confession.
Quiet.
But powerful. Nora smiled slightly. Not wide, just enough. "Then don't let it." A moment passed.
Still.
Uncertain. Then, Ethan took a step forward. Not out of instinct, not out of habit, but choice. And this time, he didn't stop. The distance between them disappeared. No walls, no hesitation, no more pretending. Because what started as survival had become something neither of them could walk away from. The road behind her no longer mattered. The future ahead, uncertain, but shared. And that made all the difference. Because in the end, she didn't stay because she had to. She stayed
Because she wanted to.